going into shoot in Cambodia, which was obviously going to be, I guess, a challenge, or was it a challenge? Because initially it would sound like a challenge going in to shoot a film, which is dark to say the least. How was that process really, if you were all going in as a team, and were you allowed a lot of freedom?
How was it? I mean, yeah, I've coming, I guess, all from Melbourne. None of us had spent. I mean, Cody's spent a fair bit of time in Southeast Asia, and I think the rest of us probably just on holiday, which is a whole different experience. But I mean, it's amazing. It's such an amazing place to shoot. Like, people are so into what you're doing and purely just, you know, happy to help you with stuff, and no one's jaded, and, you know, like a lot of the rest of the world that are, you know, yeah, it was amazing locations, you know, gorgeous people, and just those situations you could never write. They're just there, you know. Like, yeah.
I think we were lucky. I mean, we had good local fixes and so forth. You know, there is all sorts of official permits, and that's all required. And to what degree you can stretch that, because we were trying to get into quite sensitive areas a lot of the time, and that requires some fancy footwork. And so we had an executive producer, Courtin-Wilson, who was instrumental in making that stuff happen. And then we would go out ourselves and look for places that we wanted to get into, knowing that when we told her, she'd go, "Oh, really?" You know, so that, you know, that's kind of how it happened, how it unfolded. So
yeah, I mean, we were given a permit. We got like a documentary permit for the making of the film, because we had such a small crew and our kind of footprint was so light, which worked 90% of the time. But having said that, when you know, letting off illegal fireworks in the middle of a field and a drunken cop turns up waving a gun at you, telling you to stop, the permit doesn't do all that much. And working with a lot of the cast who were, you know, either actual ice addicts or ice addicts in recovery, we sort of we found this amazing needle exchange in Phnom Penh and cast a lot of people out of there. So, you know, there was a couple of times where...
Luckily didn't get stabbed in that.
Yeah, there was a couple of times we were almost stabbed, and one of our cast had to be wrestled to the ground because he had a little too much ice that day, and a lot of crew had things stolen. But, you know, I don't really think you'd have much more trouble in Phnom Penh as you would in any large city if you go and hang out with a bunch of ice addicts. You know, it was actually like a pretty wonderful experience for the most part.
They were
yeah,
nice.
So lovely.
Yeah.